Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast where Tottenham Hotspur have just beaten Manchester United here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium Premier League. I'm not getting to get carried away, and don't you get carried away, but Spurs are back in the top four, believe it or not. Now I've got three very special guests to talk about today's game with me. We've got actor TJ Ramani back with us. TJ, how are you?
I suspect I'm like everybody else. I'm absolutely jubilant. A little worn out, a little hoarse after lots of screaming at the television, my poor dog. But yeah, I mean, delighted to be back on the show. And as I didn't predict it, but I thought that we might be dissecting a victory today. So happy days. And amongst esteemed company as ever. So lovely to be back.
Thank you for coming on. We've also got actor Ricky Norwood back with us. Ricky, how are you?
Oh, my friend, I am absolutely buzzing. I am so happy. Not only the bloody well result, but the way we played. Oh my gosh, we've got some diamonds in that team, and it's just the beginning. And I'm just so happy that not only us, but Ange got that first win under his belt. The boys got it under their belt. It's going to give them confidence in the way, in the system, in everything they're being taught, in everything they're being asked to do, and the sky is the limit, man. I'm going to get carried away. I don't care about anybody else, but yes, I am. Come on, you Spurs.
We've also got BBC Breakfast producer back with us, Holly Clemens. Holly, how are you?
Hi, well, Chris, you know I'm going to be in a good mood. I mean, just absolutely delighted. Just feels like this is obviously my first time on the show this season, and I'm just could not wait to jump on and obviously talk all the good things. I just saw one of the comments saying Ricky's about to burst into flames. Well, you know he's Mr. Positive. Well, I'm always Mrs. Positive. So the pair of us are starting a right fire as it goes. We're just going to combust. I think it's absolutely the football I've been praying for the last few Christmases. I feel like Santa Claus has delivered, and that Santa Claus is Postecoglou. Do you know what I mean? And it's just Ange ball. I mean, come on now, hook it up to my veins. I feel like this is the start of something really special for us. It's the new era. It from start to finish, from the crowd, the home crowd today, right through to the end of the game, the players, everything. Just the whole atmosphere seems completely different, and it feels like the start of something to come, something great, and hopefully a fantastic season for us.
TJ, are you getting carried away? Because I tell you what, moments before we went live, I have just witnessed Basuma dancing in front of the crowd, getting carried away, and Postecoglou, the last person to leave that pitch after applauding all of the Tottenham Hotspur fans. He is absolutely loving life at Spurs right now.
Yeah, he is. And like Holly said, and like Ricky said, I mean, listen, all of us are saying it, right? We're already in love with the man. I am going to be leaning very heavily into my Australian genealogy on this show, and you know, for the rest of Ange's reign, I'm half Australian. My mother is Australian, so like I said, I'll be mentioning that probably 16, 17 times during this podcast. So bear with me. But I mean, he's just such a likable man. He's got a great sense of humor, very dry. He's so humble. You know, when we first appointed him, all of those videos that were doing the rounds when he was giving those inspiring talks to the Australian national team and talking about what it means to represent your country playing this sport that is so special to all of us, and how you're not only representing your team and you're representing yourself and you're representing the staff and the club, but you're representing your family. Like, that was so powerful. I'm sure we all saw that video. And so what's remarkable to me is how quickly we've adapted to that system. And just before we came on the air, we were having a very brief chat, and I have to admit that I would forego style of football and entertaining football if it meant winning something, because we're starving, right? We are starving. It's like that Eddie Murphy sketch, you know, throw me a cracker, that's delicious, you know, like we're exactly. Thank you, Ricky. Exactly. You know, we're starving, and so I was happy to forego a style of play, even though it's our DNA and what we've always done, if it meant winning something. But in all honesty, what we have proved is that we are who we are, And it doesn't matter which players come in through the door. It doesn't matter which managers come in through the door. Unless we play like Tottenham, we will never perform like Tottenham. And Ange come in and just gone boom and cast the spell. And credit to him, credit to the club, credit to the players who've all just embraced that. They all look so happy. And that for me is the most joyful thing to witness. We were very unlucky against Brentford not to get a result there against a very good side that have only lost once at home in a year. And so to turn over United, who've never lost at the Tottenham Stadium, they have never lost until today. Bravo.
It's very true. Two draws here and 2 wins for them before today. Ricky, give me your thoughts on today's game.
My friend, do you know what? I'm just kind of blown away by it. I think we've just built on what we started against Brentford last week. You know, you can see that these players are still getting to know each other and they're still finding this way. But for me, bro, like, I mean, I know we'll break it down, but like the first kind of 10, 15, 20 minutes, we were just giving balls away and it was a bit bitty and I didn't know where we was going to go with it. United started putting on pressure, but you know what? We just continue to grow. You know, you doggy, absolutely phenomenal at left back. Basuma is just like, I can't believe that Conte benched him for so long and tried to talk about his tactical awareness. Are you for real? This man's change of direction. His change of direction is phenomenal. Do you know what I mean?
200 million quid if Caicedo's 150, no, Rick?
No, without a shadow.
Sorry to interrupt you, brother, but yeah.
No, without a shadow. You're absolutely right. Do you know what I mean? So we've definitely got a great bargain there. And, you know, there's so much to come from Basuma. And you can see him taking it up. You can see him taking the mantle. And you can see him wanting to fulfill the mission. Do you know what I mean? Maddison, my gosh, twinkle toes in the middle of the park. Oh my God, I didn't think he was going to transform us that much. But wow. Just absolutely wow, blew me away, man. So we're definitely finding our feet still, but to get a solid result against a United team that have been under Ten Hag for, you know, last season, and this is their second season starting, the amount of money that they spend on players, the amount of infrastructure that they've got within the side, do you know what I mean? Like, to go up against a side that are well on their way to achieving something and to show them what we was about, plus a clean sheet and plus a really lovely, solid display from Vicario as well. Got a few superstar Hollywood saves out there. You could see him growing in confidence. You could see him growing in confidence in the partnership between Romero and Mickey van der Ven. There's a lot to come from this side. There is so much to come, but I was just absolutely buzzing. All we needed was that goal. And when Sarr popped up with it, and so deserving as well. Sarr, young boy, comes into the side with full of energy, full of tenacity, those long legs with the tackles. Bruv, I'm just buzzing, and this is just the beginning. Come on, you Spurs.
It's so good to see Ricky buzzing because we've had some dark days on this podcast in the last couple of years. Holly, let's come to you. Let's get your thoughts.
Sorry if it takes me a while to unmute. I'm on a different device. It's alien to me. So I'm trying to figure out where everything is. First of all, I'll start by saying, Postecoglou, he rode his kangaroo to London from Australia. He's Tottenham Hotspur saviour. Credit to Spurs song sheet for that one, obviously. No, it just felt from the start, as I said, it felt completely fresh. It felt you know, I watched the pre-match commentary and Sky had Andrew on talking about, you know, his first game, and as always, he's as humble as ever, and it's just like, you know, we've still got a long way to go. I mean, if they've got a long way to go, I'm delighted and excited about what's to come. Absolutely criminal, lock him up and throw away the key. The fact that Basuma and Sarr did not get the time they deserved last season. I mean, just phenomenal from those guys today. And also I feel like we saw some of our new signings really fit in well into the team and really shine and really play well together. The camaraderie, beautiful to see. And just, sorry, for a minute, how nice was it to see our back line performing well together? You know me, I'm not Eric Dyer's biggest fan. I mean, Dyer and Sanchez, thank God. Like, do you know what I mean? It just felt like we had a bit of tenacity today. Not a bit of tenacity, a lot of tenacity. And Vicario, Do you know what I mean? He is a firecracker, isn't he? Really is. And Maddison, where have you been all my life? Well, obviously you've been in Leicester, but do you know what I mean? Welcome to North London, baby. Just delightful football to watch. Delightful football to watch. Exciting. Didn't want it to end. And yeah, bring on the next game.
Sorry that I just run away there. Dele Alli was right next to me, so I had to just quickly say hello.
Oh my God! What the hell, Chris? That's not the first time a man's ran away from me, but oh my God, like Jesus, for Dele Alli, fair play.
He was actually supporting James Maddison today. TJ, let's come to you. Now, the lineup today, 2 changes from last week's game at Brentford. Sarr in for Skip, Porro in for Emerson Royale. It's probably a very silly question now, but was that the right decision?
Let me think about this one for a second. Yes. I mean, listen, we're going to be waxing lyrical about Sarr justifiably for however long this podcast continues. And I think for as long as he lasts at our club, which I'm hoping is a very, very long time. What is extraordinary as well is the gang were talking before, Holly and Rick were saying, you know, how has he been left on the bench for so long under previous leadership? He also, not only did he look despondent when he was on the bench, he looked quizzical, like it just made no sense to him. He didn't look vexed as much as perplexed, as we all were, because whenever he played, he seemed to have it all. The same with Biss. And what was so lovely about watching those two today, and of course Maddison, and we'll be talking about him a great deal as well, is that Sarr and Basuma just look so well paired. They just look like such a beautiful, cohesive, lyrical, fluid couple. We played with swagger right from the off. And you know what was interesting? Rick was saying before, we seem to give the ball away a lot over the first 10 or 15 minutes. And of course, he's right. We're playing high-risk football. And that's where our new defenders, like, isn't it such a joy to be reminded of defenders who can, I don't want to say who can play, but defenders who are top level or significantly more improved to what we've had to deal with before that. I mean, he was such a special talent, Sarr. So young, telescopic legs, vision. I mean, just really inspiring. And what was lovely to see is that it gives confidence to the rest of the team. You know, when Solomon came on for the last couple of minutes or whatever, you know, man's doing stepovers straight away because that's how this team plays. You know, Biss did like 3 or 4 stepovers right at the end of the game, sort of trod on the ball for the last one. But who cares? It didn't matter. We're here bossing Manchester United. So let's do some flicks and some stepovers. I mean, that little flick round the back heel pass he did, I think it was Davis, like towards the end of the second half, where we nearly scored again, you know, when Sonny ended up with the ball and Onana saved it. Speaking of saves, Vicario, Paisano, Magnifico, Fantastico. I mean, what a signing! So dominant, and I love all of his athleticism. A lot of that showreel stuff, but he made the saves. That strong right wrist for Rashford in the first half. That's a massive save for us. That's in, man. That's bottom corner all day. He's come out, spread himself, and made the save. He's really exciting. I love how he handles the ball with his feet as well, like an outfield player. I mean, listen, I could talk for 2 hours. You all know me, so I'm going to jump off. Fantastic performance. I'll open it up for the rest of the game.
Let me come back to you, though, TJ, on Vicario, because he had a lot of stick from a lot of Spurs fans last week. Are you feeling confident?
I don't understand. He wasn't responsible for either one of those goals. One of the ones it's bobbled over him, took a deflection and bobbled over him. And also, you know, you're brand new coming from, no disrespect to where he's come from, but, you know, coming from a much smaller league. And it's not like he's coming from a juggernaut. He's not coming from a Milan or an Inter or a Juve or, you know, even a Lazio or a Roma. You know, he's coming from, what are they, Empolio or something. I've never even heard of them, no disrespect. And so you're coming into the Premier League, you're coming into a team that's been in enormous amounts of flux for the last 5 years. You know, Postecoglou's what, the 5th or the 6th manager to start a new season in so many years? 5, no? You know, that's enormous pressure for a young man. And as many say, it's the most important position on the football pitch. So I understand the frustration of Tottenham fans. Of course I do, you know, man and boy and all that sort of stuff. So I understand what it's like, and we don't always get to celebrate. But expecting a goalkeeper to come in and just be, you know, Gigi Buffon straight off the bat is unrealistic. He looks really confident. He also looks like a good dude. You know, he's got a happy disposition, which again is infectious. The team looks so happy, and I love to see that.
Ricky, let's come to you. I think all of you are dying to talk about Basuma and Maddison. The midfield duo. I tell you what, Basuma looks a new player. Maddison has been an absolutely fantastic signing, and we're only 2 games in.
I mean, bro, it's we're only, like you just said there, we're only 2 games in. So where is this gonna go? They're still learning their games. I think Basuma, like I was saying there, the most impressive thing with me is his confidence and his change of direction. He's not afraid to be crowded by the opposition. He's not afraid to be in tight areas. He's happy to kind of dance and step over and flick and get out of it. What I also like about Basuma as well is that he fakes that back pass. So naturally, the ball would come and it'd be like, right, the next pass naturally should be back to the goalkeeper. We hit it out to the sides again and we go again. And he fakes that and he just turns and then he just drives up the field, which creates havoc. It creates havoc for the opposition. And you see that the whole side, all of the forward players, including the inverted fullbacks, they just start spreading out and start giving options, And, you know, like Basuma is like, I know he's not one of the vice captains or the captains, but he's playing like one, most definitely. He has definitely taken up the challenge and the mantle to go, you know what, I've got this midfield, trust in me, I'm going to sort it out. I was just blown away by him, you know, and the fact that he built on that performance from last week, which gives me confidence and should give every one of the teammates and the fans confidence that they're going to continue to build on these performances. When Maddison, my gosh, he was everywhere. It was just like, I was just kind of like, give him the ball, because his little flicks, his little kind of like lobbed passes, you know, he had an eye for. It's like he had eyes in the back of his head because he just knew where everybody was. And yes, there was a few times that, of course, you know, like the ball got nicked off of us and then we're on the defensive stuff. But again, the way that they kind of went into their defensive shape and took up their defensive jobs, I was kind of really happy with, you know. Yes, there were, you know, especially in the first half, there was like 2 crosses. Rashford was offside, and then there was the Bruno Fernandes one where it was a cross into the box, and it was the header that, you know, Bruno Fernandes headed it over. But I think it was just only 5 minutes before that, Rashford had one of those as well. And maybe that's something to look at. But majority of the time, we stifled United, you know, especially when it came to that second half. We grew into it in the second half, you know, from 25 minutes onwards, we definitely started finding our feet and definitely started building on the confidence within each other and the confidence within the way of play. But the second half, I don't know what Ange said to them. I don't know what the boys said, but they came out ready to go to work. They came out ready to like just dismantle them and dismember them and kind of just show them what we was about. Ange Ball confuses and tires out the opposition. And Basuma and Maddison are massive parts of that. They're massive parts of that. And I'm just super excited to see what comes next from them. I'm super excited to see where we go as a side right now. And you know what? If Harry Kane was watching at home, I'm sure he was just a little bit jealous that he wasn't up front getting those balls and being in this exciting play. Yes, he's gone on. Let him go on. I know he scored the other day. I know we got an assist. Crack on, Harry. But I know there's a part of him that's like, oh, with that atmosphere today, with the crowd, like I could feel it through the TV. And with the drum back in the stadium as well, my gosh, we were ready to go. We sang for 90 minutes and we were up for it for those it wasn't even 90 minutes, wasn't it? It was more like 100 minutes for the extra time. So, you know, bro, I was just super impressed. And I'm just excited, mate. I'm excited by this side. I'm excited by this style of football. I'm excited with the players that we've got right now. And I'm excited for whoever else it is that is ready to come in. You know, like you saying there about Vicario getting stick. Now look, it's
Ricky's gone. Holly, let's come to you. And Postecoglou has just come out and said the support.
come on. Okay. Sorry, I had a phone call at the same time. I'm on the phone, so it might happen again. I'm not sure. But the stick that he was getting is critique. Do you know what I mean? There were certain things that you could kind of look at and kind of go, all right, the crossing or the parrying and stuff like that. But today, I think he you know, with that crowd behind him, I think he found himself in a Tottenham shirt. And fingers crossed, all he does, like every single one of those players, they just continue to build, because it's such exciting and it's so fresh and new to see this new Tottenham, new way of playing, new players. Everybody's hungry, everybody's energetic. I'm super excited for it. Super excited for it, in case you haven't guessed.
Holly, let's come to you. Craig's very kindly given us some Ange Postecoglou quotes here. The support was outstanding today, right from the first whistle. The crowd were outstanding. They carried us through the first half because we were nervy. Are you surprised how on board these Spurs fans are behind Postecoglou? Because he's just embraced this fan base, got everyone together again.
No, I think it's because he's been exactly what we have wanted and needed, because he has been such a stark comparison to what we've had of late, which didn't work on so many levels. So go for someone who's the complete opposite, because the only way is up, right? So I feel like that's the point where we were when we took on Postecoglou. But the man has put the effort in with the fans. He really has, and you know, that's the way to keep them on side from the start. Because football does the talking, the performance does the talking, to see that he is worth every penny and he was the right decision. But for him to have that support so early on, you know, start of the season, it's incredible. And it literally is those little things of the way he talks in press conferences. Just a man with, you know, huge respect. You know, he's not come in and gone, I'm the big I am, you know, and this is what I'm about. He's here to deliver something great. It's what he really wants to do. It's not about him, it's about the club and it's about the team. And just, you know, walking around with the players, clapping the fans, making sure, going, go over there, you know, and telling them, he's like, respect the people that come here to watch you every week, that back you no matter what, respect them, you know, because at the end of the day, without the fans, the players wouldn't be on the pitch. I think that it's not lost on him. And I think that he's, all the Harry Kane comments are killing me. Can I just say, Skechers wearing melt? Joking, you know me, right? I was crying the other day, absolute big time about it, but just it's like, you got to have a little sly little dig in there. It makes me feel much better. So yeah, Skechers. The last what they wear in Germany.
Well, the last time you were on, Holly, you said Harry Kane is my Jesus.
Now listen, I'm a fickle woman, right? So let me just say, there's a new religious icon in town, all right? And he's got an Australian accent.
TJ, let's come to you. I want to talk a little bit about Harry Kane. Do we need a replacement? Do we need a replacement for Harry Kane? Do we need a new striker in this transfer window in the next couple of weeks?
Yes. I mean,
are we going to get?
Listen, this new system that we're playing, and again, this is game 2. It's no time. We didn't really have a pre-season. I know you were over in Oz, Chris. So was I over in Perth. And that was a bit of a washout, pun sort of intended. So we haven't really had a pre-season. You know, yes, we've brought in a couple of new recruits, but it's not like we've gone, okay, well, we'll have him and we'll have him and we'll have him and this team has come together so quickly. Dare me to make an actory analogy quite quickly, and Rick can back me up here. You know, we go from job to job, and obviously you get there and there's a new crew and a new, new sets and new locations and all the rest of it, new roles, new challenges, what have you, and of course a new director. And your director is absolutely fundamental, because you build up a certain level of skill over the years and a certain level of confidence and all that kind of thing. But ultimately, you don't really know what's going to happen until you're in the moment. And so having a director that puts his or her arm around you and just encourages you to keep doing what you do well, and then gives you positive critiques to move you in a direction that's going to be best for you and best for the show or the movie that you're doing, is absolutely fundamental. And it happens very quickly, doesn't it, Rick? Like when that first moment that you meet a new director, within about 30 seconds, you go, this is going to be fantastic. Or, oh God, I think I'm in trouble here. And Postecoglou has come in and everyone has drunk the Kool-Aid. Everyone's drunk the Castlemaine. Everyone's just like, I'll have another 4X. Thanks, Ange. Incredible. So quickly, the young lads, the senior lads, have just embraced this man, not just for the person that he is, wonderfully humble and typically Australian in his egalitarianism. Everyone's the same, kind of just a really decent person. But we've just taken on his style of football, and it is high risk. And we look at our team and go, well, God, we shipped 62 goals last season. It's okay. Let's still do it. And that for me is utterly remarkable. I got to shout out a good friend of mine over here, another big Tottenham boy, this lad called Tom Kavanagh. He texted me and said, I'm literally standing up and clapping in my living room. And he goes, I can't remember doing that. And that's the feeling that we're getting after 2 games. Yes, this was a statement result against, I know United are not the United of old, but they're still Manchester United. And it's not like they haven't spent vast sums of money. And we've come out and kind of bossed them. I mean, yes, they missed a couple of sitters and everything, but for an hour, maybe 65 minutes, there was only 1 team in it today. And so I don't think we can curb, or maybe even should curb, our enthusiasm for where this style of football can take us. I don't think we're that many players away. But to answer your original question, Chris, do we need somebody who's a focal point who can put the ball in the back of the net? I'd love that to be Richie. Let's give him a run of games. He does it for Brazil. It's so perplexing and frustrating to us all. He just looks lost still. Will somebody like Gift Oban coming in, another young, hungry player, somebody like that, will it give him the little push that he needs? Who knows? But having that one person who can put the ball into the back of the net whenever that task is asked of him, that is essential. In the meantime, I'm happy for a bunch of other people to score goals.
TJ, does it worry you, though, the fact that Brentford last week, they had so many chances. Manchester United had chances today. I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, I think Spurs are going to be the team this season. Every neutral fan is going to watch Spurs games, because we're going to concede goals, we're going to score goals.
Yes.
But then, does it worry you? You even said there, we're a couple of players away. How many times have all of us said that over the years under various different managers? What changes this time?
I mean, conceding goals. I mean, listen, we should have conceded goals today. Again, shout out Vicario. He's made like 3 saves that he had no business making. And again, his second game between the sticks, replacing a World Cup winner in Hugo Lloris and club captain. Those are enormous shoes to fill, and he's come in and done a bang up job. Also, let's shout out our defenders today. Van der Ven and, Romero really did look like the best of himself today. I think him being given a vice captaincy was really important. It's like when you give the naughty kid at school the hall monitor's badge. You give them a little bit of responsibility, and all of a sudden they step up. I think that's helped him enormously, and also not having to carry whoever's standing next to you. Van der Ven looks really capable, even when he or somebody else gives the ball away. Now, obviously, Rashford, he wasn't brilliant today, but Rashford is rapid. And when we would give the ball away, Van der Ven was always capable of just rushing back and getting goal side of him. Just stand in front, be disciplined. Udogie, wow, What, brother, what a player. What a player. And Porro was magnificent today. And wasn't it a joy to see these players coming off the bench? You know, to see Solomon coming off the bench, who's excellent. You know, Royale, who is our favourite son now, coming off the bench. Perisic coming off the bench, you know, just kind of looking and saying, we might have some depth here. So when I say we're 1 or 2 away, who is that? Is that a number 9? They're so rare in football. Who are they? Who are those guys? That's why they're so highly prized. That's why you get 120 million for a 30-year-old with 1 year left on his contract. Because the person who has that ability to put the ball in the back of the net, kind of 9 times out of 10, are very rare. We should bring another striker in just to put pressure on Richie and see if he can step up. But as far as the others, like, you know, do we want another centre-back as cover? Because Sanchez is looking quite good under Postecoglou. If I was spoiled, I'd say, give me another centre-back and give me a striker, and I think I'd be happy. And again, speaking pragmatically, that's what would make me happy.
Ricky, let's come to you. No Dyer today, no Reguilon, Spence, Tanganga, no Ndombele in the squad. Do you expect those 5 players to move on in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, probably. I think, you know, you can definitely see that this side is moving on. You know, when we spoke about a new era, and it was Hugo Lloris who said it at the end of last season, you know, when he first said that he wanted to move on, he spoke about it being the end of an era and, you know, that, you know, it's time for new challenges. And I think that kind of sings true to the majority of those players that you just mentioned there. You know, we're not here to carry no one anymore. And the people that are in the squad, they're hungry, they're ambitious, they want to listen to the mission and task at hand, and they want to go out there and excel and kind of, you know, and kind of complete that mission. You know, some of the players that you just mentioned there, I mean, look, there's a couple of young ones in there. Spence hasn't had a chance. We know that, but there must be a reason why he ain't getting a chance. So if it's a loan for him, then fine. But the majority of the rest of them, you know, it's the end of one era and it's the beginning of a new one. And those
what do you think it is with Spence, Rick? Sorry to interrupt you. What do you think it is with him?
Do you know what? I really don't know. You know, I saw him play for Nottingham Forest in the Championship, and I just thought, oh my gosh, wow.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't know why it's not working for us.
Well, you know, he got brought in as a right wing back to fill that kind of right wing back role for Conte. Conte called him a club signing. I don't know whether that hurt his feelings or he started to show a bit of kind of, for want of a better word, like a bit of attitude. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe he just showed a little bit of displeasure at not being kind of considered. He then had to, you know, sit around and wait for a move. Got the move. Done all right out in France. And then I thought, really and truly, coming back with the new manager, the new system and everything else, I thought that he would have thrived under it. I think that the injury, he had a little injury end of last season. So I think that kind of hampered him because he didn't get time during that shoddy pre-season to even show what he was about. When he did come on against Barcelona, I felt that he played in the wrong position, TJ. I felt that he should have gone to right back, and I felt that Porro should have been pushed up to right wing. Because that's why I would love to see Porro right wing and just see what he can do there. Because I just think there's a really great player in there. But I felt that should have been the change. I felt that we should have seen Spence at right back and turning into inverted right back and stuff like that. And he would have been able to kind of show his defensive attributes and also his offensive attributes. Being an inverted right back, he could have used his pace, these long legs and athleticism to get up the field and to create some havoc, which he done for Nottingham Forest, which he done for the French side that he was playing for.
How old is he now? Is he 19?
I've got a feeling he's 20, but Chris will
20.
tell you because he's the encyclopedia. Chris, how old is Spence?
Spence, I think, is 21.
There you go. Okay. There you go. So I think there's definitely, I don't know. He looked very happy during pre-season. Every little shot that we saw of him, every little kind of Perth video or the zoo video, he looked like he was getting on with his teammates, but there's definitely something there. So I would love him to get a loan. I wouldn't like to sell him because I still think there's a player in there as well. But the rest of them, You know, especially like Ndombele. I think all of us wanted Ndombele to come in and just kind of transform this side. You know, to be the Basuma. You know, the way that Basuma's transformed this side, the way that Basuma took up the mantle and the challenge to go out and dominate a midfield.
I'm sure we all noticed as well with Basuma. You know how when players just kind of accept how good somebody is, and then after a while they don't even bother trying to get the ball off him. That was like vintage Dembele. You know, like players would just be like, it's not worth it. It's just not worth, even if there's 3 of them converging on him, it's just like, he's going to get out of this. And he did. And like there were periods at the end of the game where even like Casemiro wasn't even really leaning on him. He's like, he's just going to get past me. And he did. He's that good, man.
And he's that good that he says to someone like Ndombele, you know, you didn't pull up your socks and you didn't do anything. You know, he missed his opportunity. That first preseason game, he was supposed to be in the starting lineup. And I think we I was hoping that we was going to see a different side to Ndombele, but he ended up missing that with a knock. Lo Celso came in and totally took his chance. Do you know what I mean? Totally showed us that he was up for it. He was up for it during pre-season, and the 2 games that he played, I think it was, he looked really good in that system.
Yes.
It's a shame that we haven't seen him come off the bench as yet because of those performances that he put in. But out of the 2 of them, now I was most critical when we both bought them. I was most critical over Lo Celso. Even the little that Ndombele done, I felt that he's still done more than Lo Celso. But Lo Celso's gone on loan for the last 3 years or however long it's been. He's had a baby. He's missed out on the World Cup. I think he's reassessed life. I think he's reassessed his game. I think he's reassessed what he wants from the game as well. And I think he put that into those preseason games. So out of the 2 of them, Ndombele's got to go. And like we said, it's the end of an era. If you're not up for it, if you don't like it, if you're not up for the fight, then please, you know, good luck to you, but see you later.
Jed Spence has just turned 23, by the way.
23?
23, yeah. Holly, let's come to you. After 45 seconds, Spurs had their first chance in the game, crossing Kulusevski to Heung-min Son, who didn't connect quite well with it. What do you make of Kulusevski's performance today?
You know what? I think there was one point I was really frustrated with him because Rishi was like in the box, and I felt like Kulusevski was hoping to get the first home goal of the season, and he should have passed the ball on to Richarlison. It felt a little bit frustrating. But I think he's probably feeling like he's got a lot to prove of himself, because obviously his form dropped massively towards the end of last season, and you know, now he has got to, you know, he was the bright young thing for a long time, and now he's got some other bright young things to contend with. I mean, I don't think he is at his full potential yet, but still a promising start. But yeah, I mean, it's unusual to see that dynamic between Kulusevski, Richarlison, Son. You know, it's like I know I called him a Skechers wearing melt, but it is weird to not see Harry Kane up front. And I think they're all probably trying to adjust to that because he was such a pivotal part. And yeah, I think Kulusevski and Richarlison probably both felt a little bit frustrated at the end of the game because, you know, they could have done more. But at the same time, what was great about it was the actual fight that they had and the constant drive. You know, that's why I think Richarlison was so disappointed to come off. I mean, come on now, the attitude was a little bit much, but he sort of felt like he was walking up to sit on the naughty step. I think that's the way he was reacting.
He's always a bit like that. He's a difficult one to like. He just looks like a mewling toddler. I was saying to a couple of my friends over here on a Spurs chat, he's always got a scowl on his face. Like, I mean, Suarez would often play like that, but you know, Suarez would score 30 goals a season. So scowl all you want. It almost looks to me like Richie blames everyone other than himself. Maybe I've got the wrong end of the stick, but he looks like one of those to me. Like when he gets brought off, it's kind of, you know, I didn't see him do one positive thing today. Now, I understand that people will say that he does a lot of running off the ball and perhaps stretches the defence, but everybody's doing that in Ange ball. So that's not enough. Sorry to interrupt you, Holly, but I completely concur that the dynamic without, Harry, it up top, I just don't think we found what the formula is yet. I don't think Kulu's quite fit either. He seems to have lost a little yard of pace or something.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think, going back to what you just said about Rishi, I think, at Everton, he was like golden boy, star boy. He came to Spurs and he didn't have that same impact. And I think it's almost like when the popular kid at one school goes to another school and all of a sudden they're not in the popular gang anymore and they're having to start from the bottom and prove themselves. It's like a big knock to the ego. But ego aside, that's not what it's about. It's not about him. They're a team, and I think that sometimes he lets his own ego get in the way. And every person I speak to about Richarlison, they say not worth 80 million. Oh my God, I totally agree. I mean, I was at Anfield last season when he got his first goal for us in the Premier League, and it was like right near the end of the season or whatever. I think, am I right?
Only goal in the Premier League.
Yeah, and because the other one was Champions League, wasn't it? But yeah, and he went absolutely nuts. But I mean, bro usually has a shirt off before VAR agrees and says it's a goal. Like, he fully commits to the bit. Like, he really goes for it. And it's like, everyone kept saying to me, is Richarlison now going to step up and replace Harry Kane? I would say absolutely not, because unless it's a free kick, you could always count on Harry Kane. Wouldn't have that same kind of confidence about Richarlison. And also, more often than not, most of the time it's bloody offside with Richarlison anyway. So it's just like, do you know what I mean? I think someone needs to teach him the offside rule. But no, I
wonder what he's like in training. Do you think he's kind of banging them in for fun in training?
I mean, yeah, it would be interesting to know, because it's like, is there something that we're not seeing? Is like you just mentioned there, because it sort of feels a bit, yeah.
You know what? For me, Holes, I think the reason that we brought him in, I think, right, but it could be totally wrong. I think the reason that we brought him in was for a Conte system. I thought he was one that would create havoc. Do you know what I mean? Dribble, get fouls, nick, get players thinking about like tackling him rather than doing their jobs and playing the game. Do you know what I mean? I thought he was a bit
like what Kulu was doing for Conte, like that breakaway, just impossible to tackle, that kind of thing. Yeah,
that type of Lamella. Do you know what I mean? As well as another example, that guy that can infuriate you, but then can come up with a bit of quality. For me, I didn't really. For me, I wanted Rapina. There was the three Brazilians, wasn't there? There was Anthony, Rapina, and Richarlison. And for me, I wanted the Rapina. Who ended up going to Barcelona. But with Charlie, I thought he was brought in as a piece of havoc, as an aerial threat, as a bit of a maverick. And that might be the case, and it might work. It's just that we're not seeing, and I agree with TJ and Holly there, is that we're not really seeing that player. Do you know what I mean? And he's emotional.
I'm not seeing anything right now. I mean, again, other than stretching defenses, which is the bare minimum requirement. And again, there's lots of players in this current system that are going to be doing that. I'd be more than happy to be educated otherwise. Well, this is what he does. This is what he does. I watched him quite closely today. I just couldn't see anything moderately beneficial, let alone, determined or final.
And he hasn't really grabbed his chance either, has he? Sorry,
certainly not. Certainly not. Like wayward touches and things. Like, we were just talking about Bissouma. Bissouma will get the ball. Touch is going to be perfect. Whether it's coming from on high or whether it's coming left, right, going to be perfect. 2 players closing, 3 players closing, no problem. Out he goes. Richarlison takes the ball with his, backing onto somebody or whatever. He's going to lose that ball, and 9 times out of 10 he did.
Yeah, and he was looking to fall over a lot as well,
100%.
which kind of frustrates me. We might get an odd free kick here and there,
Mm.
but that kind of frustrates me. But he's the one player that hasn't really taken his chance. You know, he had the excuse last year of Harry Kane being there, not getting the minutes, not getting the chance, playing out of position. He's played on the left and the right for years, but okay, playing out of position. His preferred position is number 9. Okay, well then you've got it. Show us. Like everybody in that side right now, you know, they have to show us. If we think about Vicario getting stick last week, and since we've signed him because we didn't get Raya, or we didn't go and spend massive money to go and get Onana or someone like that, but you can see at least Vicario's looking to take his opportunity. It's the same thing. You know, like TJ said there, Vicario's taken over from Hugo Lloris, who's been there for 11, close on 12 years, has been our captain, World Cup winner. You know, saved us more times than he cost us. Yes, the form was a bit wayward last year, but saved us more times than he cost us. And Vicario's gone in there to kind of take that critique on board and show everybody, show the crowd, show the boss, show the players around him that he's about it and you can trust him. And it's like right now we've got the same parallel with Harry Kane leaving, who's our poster boy, has been there again for what was it, nearly 20 years. Do you know what I mean? Ever present, ever reliable. Can always, he might have a quiet game, but 9.5 times out of 10, he was always the man to get things going or to get us over the line. And now, Richarlison, you've got your chance. Do you know what I mean? And
I'm not being facetious. Does anybody know? Is Richarlison fast? Like, is he? I honestly don't know. I'm not being facetious.
TJ, I'll tell you what. Going back to your point about the training, during pre-season, Australia, Thailand, Singapore, I went to all 3 training sessions. He's finishing in those training sessions. Some of his finishing was exceptional.
Was it?
So he can certainly finish. You know that he can.
And what is it, Chris? I mean, is it because obviously I've seen him playing for Brazil? You know, kind of popping up and scoring goals in the box. Is it one of those? Is he a fox in the box? Or is he banging goals from outside? Is he scoring with his head? Like, not to get too specific, but these goals, this finishing, like what kind of finishing? Like, what kind of striker is he? Again, not being facetious, I genuinely don't know.
Oh, some great chips over the goalkeeper. Some really good long ranges in top corner.
Is he fast?
Yeah,
he's got a ton of pace.
And as you
said, so is he the kind of player that can kind of play, you know, when he's on his game, you know, backing into a defender, ball comes to his feet, he whips it around the corner and is going to beat the central defender for pace and get in on goal? Is he one of those?
I think he's an all-rounder. But I think it's you've got to click. But I agree with all of you. What an opportunity it is. Harry Kane leaves the football club. He's got to step up now. He really has. And
a system that suits you. You know, again, like one of the things that we were all saying to ourselves in order, you know, listen, a lot of this was dampening the blow that we all felt with Harry leaving. Is we're saying, oh, well, the system doesn't suit Harry Kane. It'll be fine. We don't mind because, you know, under Ange ball doesn't really suit Harry Kane. Listen, this game, however you play it, even if we're sitting in the dugout going, Harry, do you want to go and sit in there, just having a cup of tea? Harry, get out there and score a couple of goals. Don't worry about the system. He'll score goals. And so in this system, not that we're at the point yet, because again, we're 2 games in, we're not at the point yet where we're saying to Richarlison, you have no excuses, but this is a system that is built for a number 9, an outright number 9. And like Rick said, you know, this is his preferred position, and comments, of course, coming in. He is Brazil's number 9. So it's not like he doesn't know how to score. Is it all just a confidence issue, potentially?
Well, just let me give you. So there's something that I clocked over the years. All right, is that Richarlison
with Richie.
With Richarlison,
okay.
Richarlison has never scored in any of his clubs, right, including Brazil, any more than 13 goals in a season. That's right. He's been very.
I was going to ask when Holly was talking about him being the main man at Everton, and I know he had a good season that season. You know, kept them from being relegated. I was going to ask how many goals he got that season.
I think it was 13. I think it was 13. I don't think he scored any more than 13.
Yeah.
But for Brazil, he's prolific. So there's a thing about Richarlison's story as well. There's a video on it. I'll try and find it and post it. But he talks about his story, and he speaks about him and his father not having money and being in a very poor place. And he promised his father that he would become, you know, a Brazil international, buy him a house and stuff like that. So his finite mission in life was to be that good, to get to Brazil, to be able to cater for his family. So maybe he has a different affinity with the yellow shirt on, with the Brazil jersey and the Brazil badge on. But we definitely need him and his maverick self to find himself at Tottenham, because now he does have the opportunity. I want him to score 20 goals this season. It's not these critiques.
And he's playing in a system where that could very much be a reality, right? And also,
absolutely,
isn't part of, again, no disrespect to Everton, but isn't it part of the bump? You know, like going from a lower team in the league to a top 6 team. Isn't that your opportunity? Okay, well, let me go from 13 goals to 18 goals. Let me go from 18 goals to 22, 23 goals. Isn't that kind of part of the deal? And again, you can argue, well, you're coming in trying to fill the shoes, just like Vicario has done a really good point that you made, coming in to fill the shoes of Hugo. We're coming in to fill the shoes of Harry Kane. Again, no bigger shoes in the game, all be them sketches, much to Holly's chagrin. But I know, shocking.
Charlie Kane, Harry's manager / brother / complete tool. Like, it's just like he goes off to Munich and straight away he's wearing the sketches. It's like, come on.
Which you only ever see people wearing as orthopedics. Or, those American tourists that you always see on the tube are always wearing oversized chinos. They always have massive sketches trainers on.
I said about starting a new school earlier on when I was referring to Richarlison and trying to fit in with the cool kids. I tell you what, if someone turns up as the new kid wearing sketches, they get absolutely rinsed. Absolutely rinsed. So I'm sorry, as soon as I saw this person,
then they reveal a heartbreaking story that they've got one leg shorter than the other or something.
Harry Kane company shared it. Sketches. Like, he's thinking, I negotiated that deal hard. Come on now. It's almost as bad as Jamie Redknapp in the Sketches advert. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, Jesus Christ, I was nearly about to log off, you lot. I thought, what's the point of being on it? Like, thank you so much, everyone in the comments, for saying let us speak. I thought I was a mute. I thought I was a mute there, not being on mute. I was gonna say, I had to remember what I was gonna say. Yes. What I was gonna say was he was unreal in the World Cup, Richarlison. He was fantastic, absolutely unreal. So yes, you're right with what you were saying, Ricky, about how maybe he's different as soon as he puts on a yellow shirt. But I tell you, who else was phenomenal in that World Cup, and then as soon as they returned home and put on the lily white shirt again, was absolutely horrendous. Hugo Lloris. When I was watching England-France, I was like, who is this man? I have not seen this man since 2019. So yeah, I don't know what it is. You don't want to call it the Spursy curse or whatever, because I really hate using that phrase because I don't want to speak it into existence. But it is interesting to see Richarlison, because I was genuinely really excited when I heard that we were signing him, because we were really in desperate need of really attacking players, and he is terrifying. I've said this before time and time again. A man who is so terrifying chooses to dance like a pigeon. Like, you could not, it's the complete juxtaposition of that is just unreal. But yeah, scary bloke. And I tell you what, when he was marching up them stairs earlier on and had a right paddy on, I think I'd have ran away from him. Absolutely terrifying bloke. But come on now, he's obviously disappointed in his performance. He's disappointed that the ego didn't get a little boost when he didn't get a goal in. He's probably thinking, Harry Kane's out of the picture now, my time to shine. And it didn't quite go that way. And I know people in the comments were saying that all this Richarlison hate. Now listen, more often than not, especially Ricky and I, we are the most positive people in the world. Listen, it's like hearing your parents talk about the kids. It's like, can never do no wrong. People always say, oh yeah, come on now, we were shocking, whatever. You're delusional. Listen, delusional is my middle name. I'm a Tottenham fan. I'm always going to be delusional. But come on, when push comes to shove, you've got to critique them. They're on big money here. The ticket prices are going up and up and up. It's like, if they're not playing well, you just got to crack the whip a little bit. Not like Richarlison sat at home watching this. He might be. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Certainly not. But mean, you'd like to think so. I'll tell you who I hope is not watching, Eric Dyer, because every time I'm on, the absolute hate I give this man. It's just because he didn't match his back on Raya. That's all it is.
Well, just to answer your question, Richarlison, 4 seasons at Everton, 13 goals, 7 goals, and 10 goals. Yeah.
That's really interesting, isn't it? I mean, it's not scintillating. I mean, it's decent. In the comments here, Rory Grindley, I hope I've pronounced his name correctly. I mean, Ivan Toney. I like that. Right? And there we go. Yeah. Ivan Toney. I mean, I think I'd take him all day long.
Now we need the geezer from Belgium. We need a little
the Oban gift.
Come on, Daniel, give us a little gift.
Yeah. How much are they wanting for him? 30, right? That's the problems? That's the stumbling block right now. Is that right?
Bargain.
TJ, can I ask, what are your expectations for this season, and what do you think will be a successful season for Postecoglou?
I mean, listen, we're early on, and obviously we're riding a wave right now. I think if you'd asked me before the season had started, I'd say top 6. I'd love a deep cup run. I would forego top 6 if it meant I'd love to win the FA Cup again. I'd love to win the FA Cup. That was such a special tournament for us. I was there the last time we won it. You know, one of my old friends, JB, who typically listens to the show, like we were there together in '91. I'd love us to just have a deep run in a tournament. Love us to win the FA Cup. I mean, right now I'm thinking maybe we could win the FA Cup without any Europe to worry about. We're playing very, very well. Injuries could be key, but again, just looking at who came off the bench today, and Ricky talking about, you know, the attitude and the confidence that's permeated throughout the team. Players coming off the bench and looking to grab an opportunity, which again is what's so frustrating about Ndombele, is that you've been given so many opportunities. There's no doubting your ability. I remember Declan Rice a couple of seasons ago, he was asked, you know, like, who's the best central midfielder that you face? And without hesitation, he said, oh my God, that Ndombele, like unbelievable. And so my expectations for this season, I guess it's still top 6 and a cup. I'd love the FA Cup. Of course, I'll take the Milk Cup, or, you know, the League Cup, whatever they call it now. Of course I would. You know, I'd take
Mickey Mouse Cup.
Which one? The Mickey Mouse?
I'll
take the Mickey Mouse Cup. You know, I live in California. I love Mickey Mouse.
I'd like to see Mickey van der Ven hold the Mickey Mouse Cup. Mickey van der Ven, honestly. What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful man.
Terribly handsome, very calm, very Dutch, tall and handsome.
Material for me.
Yeah, maybe. Absolutely. So yeah, man, listen, if it's heart, it's top 4 in an FA Cup. If it's head, it's top 6 and an FA Cup. To hell with it, an FA Cup.
Ricky, before we get back to the actual game, what's your expectations under Ange this season?
Bro, my expectations is for us to do better than last year, first and foremost. You know, the one thing that I asked for last year was to see progression, to see a freshness, to see a new energy, to see a hunger and a desire to do better and to compete. I think we haven't competed in so long. We've been in these low blocks and we've invited pressure onto ourselves. And, you know, even when we was 1-0 up last year, you know, we didn't go for the kill. We never went for the kill last year. We was first half football for a long time last year, whether it was the first half or the second half, but we only had a half of actually playing football. So for me, I want us to do better than last year. I would love us to get back into Europe. I would love us to go on a, like TJ said there, I'd love us to go on a deep cup run, but not only that, to compete in that final, to actually compete in that final. Sorry
to interrupt you, Ricky. That comment has me dead. I was joking. My fella's just texted me. He said didn't realise Dutch was your time. He's a West Ham fan, but listen, we don't talk about that. I made him watch. I was like, why are you not watching me right now? So I sent him the link. So that's a little shout out for him there. People don't want him to think that I'm all going to run off into the sunset with Van de Ven. I mean, obviously not. I'm never going to meet him in my life. But even if he was in the room, Jake, I wouldn't be interested. All right, my love.
Well done. You dug yourself out of that one. But I totally missed the comment as well. I totally missed it. I was on my bloody well rant. I was looking up into the sky and stuff. What did they say, Hole?
Holly marries Van de Ven, and best man. Was that the comment, Chris? I thought I read that just now. Shut up, you little show off. Deli and Uncle Ange in one night.
Fanboy. Fanboy live on the podcast.
That's amazing. But you know what? It's like, yeah, I want us to do better. But you know what? My question for Chris as well. Chris, I would love you to tell us what it was like in that stadium today. You know, what the atmosphere was like, because it for 100 minutes, it was absolutely going mental. What was it like for the drum to be back in? And what was it like to see those new players on the field today in our home stadium, first home game of the season? You know, because you was there, bruv, and you're always there. And I'd love to know what you thought and felt at the time that you was watching this game.
One word, Ricky: goosebumps. That's what it was.
Really?
The atmosphere was unbelievable from the very, very off. Everyone's behind Ange Postecoglou, which is really nice to see. And positivity. The positivity is back here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is really, really great to see. And everyone wants to see
happiness, isn't it? It's that happiness
They're loving it.
that we keep coming back to. It's so lovely to see. One of my oldest friends, my oldest childhood friend, was at the stadium today and was saying exactly the same thing. And again, that permeates from the stands and onto the pitch, and back from the pitch and onto the stands. And what a difference it's made. I remember I was listening to this radio interview with this. I don't know why I was listening to this, but it was some bloke over in Finland, like some guy who worked for the government over in Finland, and they were talking to him about why kids across Scandinavia perform so well in schools, and yet they start at 10 a.m. They have like an hour and a half for lunch. They finish at 3 p.m. They have a really easy time. Breaks are like 45 minutes, like they're taking their shoes off when they're walking into the classroom. And he surmised it in this very kind of efficient and very grounded Scandinavian way when the interviewer said to him, so why do you think it is, if you could surmise it into one sentence, why do kids in schools in Scandinavia perform so well? And he just said, when they are happy, they learn. And it looks like when they are happy, they play. It's really lovely to see.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Ricky, let's come to you. Now let's get back to the game. In the third minute, Anthony with a shot over the bar. After 5 minutes, Garnacho with a shot, Vicario saved. After 13 minutes, Rashford running through, forcing a good save from Vicario. After 23 minutes, Manchester United, again, Fernandes with a cross, Rashford with a head over the bar. Now, there was an instant in the 36th minute that I wanted to pick up on. Fernandes' header, completely on his own, about 6 yards out, put it over, put it wide. Unbelievable miss from him. Are you surprised that he was completely unmarked?
Oh, I mean, yeah, but at the same time, the partnership between Romero and, Mr. Holly Clemens, Van de Ven, the relationship between them two is building. They're starting to understand each other. So, of course, there's going to be times when things like that happen. What's really encouraging is, I have a faith that Ange and the team are going to work on that, because like I said earlier, 5 minutes before that Fernandes header, Rashford had exactly the same chance. So I have faith and I have trust that the Ange and the boys are going to sit down and dismantle that and figure out how that happened and figure out a way of stopping that type of ball into the box. But what I was really encouraged with is that from last year to this year, even against Man United, I went to see that 2-2 game with you, Chris, last year. And, how we just used to invite pressure on, and we just used to go into two low blocks, and we just used to let them attack us left, right, and centre. They had that 5-10 minute spell of attacking us today, and then we was like, oh, no. Give me the ball. They continue to be brave. They continue to try a risky pass. They continue to move the ball forward. They continue to go out there and show what they were about, in this game. They wasn't going to just be overawed by Man United and their multi-million pound players that are, do you know what I mean? That have got Karen style haircuts. You know, hashtag Garnacho with his Karen haircut. But anyway, but yeah, so we're not going to be overawed or kind of be dominated by anybody. You know, we went out there to still play the same way, still follow the instructions of Ange Ball, and to confuse them and to show them that there was more to worry about with Tottenham than there was for us to worry about. We knew what was coming from Man United, and I've said this many a time on this show, and especially after the last 3-4 years underneath those managers. Stop worrying about the opposition and let the opposition worry about you. Stop worrying about Rashford and whoever else and Fernandes and whoever else. Let them worry about you. Let them worry about Basuma. Let them worry about Maddison. Let them worry about trying to pick up Udogie on the left-hand side, drifting into midfield. Let them worry about Pedro Porro, you know, springing out to the right-hand side or crossing or shooting, you know. But let them worry about us. And I was just super encouraged, even though that we could have been 2-0 down. We could have been a goal down or whatever the case may be with that Fernandes header. But they never stopped. They never stopped. And they didn't get scared and they didn't retreat. They was like, okay, cool, let's go for the fight. And then they carried on. And that's what's really encouraging for me.
I love doing these shows. You never ever know what's coming next. Holly, do you want to answer this one?
Right. Well, let's be honest. I know that quite often when I get asked to go on these podcasts, as much as I'd like to think I get picked for my wit and, you know, fantastic personality, I'm more often than not the token woman or the token blonde, and that's fine. At times like this, if it makes you all smile, then I'm more than happy to go for it. So it's not Harry Floyd. And if Jake's still listening, then it's time to take your AirPods out, honey. Let's go for it. Okay, so this is a hard one. This is difficult. I'd avoid Vicario.
Okay.
Because I could do without him. That's fine. After today's game, I would snog Van de Ven and I'd marry Ange Postecoglou. Because then I could snog him anytime I want.
DJ, back to the football. There was a moment.
Well, I would avoid. Oh no, sorry, different question. Okay,
There was quite a strange moment. Talk me through it, because in the 39th minute, Fernandes was given a yellow card from Mike Oliver.
Yes.
He shouted.
Is Fernandes the most dislikable person in the Premier League? Sorry to go off on a tangent.
Yeah.
But he is just detestable, isn't he?
It seemed like Mike Oliver was going to give him a second yellow immediately and give him a red card. What happened? Did he change his mind?
Yeah, well, he's Manchester United captain, is what happened. For the same reason that they were given 9 minutes of extra time at the end of the second half. There were no head injuries. There were no VAR red card decisions other than questionably why Fernandes wasn't shown a second yellow. That's the simple answer to that one, Chris. There's no other explanation for it. He's such an unlikable, whinging, moaning, I mean, listen, world-class player, but constantly moaning, constantly whinging. God knows why he wears the armband for Manchester United. I mean, again, I think that's testament to just what a state that club is in. You know, Fernandes is, Lord, Roy Keane. I wonder if you asked Roy Keane, what do you think about Fernandes being the captain of Manchester United? I mean, you'd have to hold up an umbrella. You know, you'd be showered with spit through all the vitriol, you know. But that's why he didn't get a second yellow, because he's the captain for Manchester United. It's just that simple. They had so many players on yellow cards. How did they all stay on the pitch for, I was going to say 90 minutes, but turned out to be more like 117 minutes? How did they all stay on the pitch for that long? Wan-Bissaka, how does he not get a second yellow for bringing down Kulu, wasn't it? When we broke away from that corner. I mean, no, he's not through on goal. It happened on the halfway line, but that's a second yellow all day long. Hand on the shoulder and pulled him down. Second yellow. Manchester United would always get favourable decisions. always. It's just the institution of the country where we play football. There'll always be allowances for Manchester United unless they play Liverpool, in which case it's cancelled out, because there'll always be allowances made for Liverpool as well.
Ricky, in the first half, we didn't have that many clear-cut chances, but 5 minutes from the half-time break, we hit the woodwork twice. Of course, Pedro Porro, the first one. Talk us through that mad minute of near chances for Tottenham.
I think it was a statement of what this Ange ball is about. It was confusion. It was madness. There was a lot going on, and Maddison was kind of instrumental in all of it. Even the Sonny slice. There was a Sonny slice. It sounds like a cake, doesn't it? There was a Sonny slice a bit earlier from that as well. But yeah, I mean, it was Pedro. Pedro hit the bar, didn't it? And then it went out again. Kulu got the ball back in, and I think there was a ricochet that hit the bar again, where we could have gone 1-0 up. So
yeah, it came off Martinez off his calf and hit the post. But yeah, that hit from Porro absolutely smacked the crossbar. It must have been rattling for a good 30 seconds.
And that's what he can do. That's what Porro can do. He does have a great cross on him. He does have a turn of speed. He does have some skill about him, but he's got a great strike. I mean, we haven't seen it enough, but he has got a great strike on him. So, for me, again, encouraging to see Porro on the edge of the box and to give us that dimension and to go for it. A bit of confusion, but I think at that time, I think it woke the whole Tottenham side up to be like, we can do this. Let's go. We can do this. Let's go. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. We can do it. Do you know what I mean? So I think definitely, man, it was a bit of confusion. It was a bit of madness, a bit of chaos. But I think it woke us up and livened us up and helped us push on for the second half.
Holly, let's come to you. Just before half-time, Kulusevski had a shot at the goalkeeper, comfortable for the goalkeeper. Half-time 0-0. And then we came out in the 49th minute, went 1-0 up through Pape Matar Sarr. Talk us through his goal.
As I said at the start of the show, Chris is gone. I bet you he's gone for a picture with. I
was just going to say, Glenn Hoddle and Jurgen Klinsmann have just walked.
I was going to say, yeah, absolutely. Every Spurs legend is there, and he's going. I wonder if he's going to come back with Ramon Vega again. That was madness. I'll wait for Chris to come back, but can I just say there are people in the comments asking if I'm drunk. I've had one beer. It's called Having a Good Time and being happy that my team had a good performance and won the league. So won the league. Won the game. This I have completely ruined that for myself then, because they are going to say she must be drunk, but maybe that's me putting it out there, Ricky. I know you'll agree. Someone also has put, has she got daddy issues? The only issue I've got from my dad is the fact that he made me a Tottenham Hotspur fan because it's been years of hurt.
That's a sizable issue. I mean,
but yeah, thank you very much for your concern. And yes, someone said stop being mean to her.
Who's being mean to you?
So thank you.
Who's being mean?
Who's being mean to you?
I have to say that because people are being mean and I don't like it.
Should we talk about the fact that City are 1-0 up against Newcastle?
Let's not talk about City.
No.
I mean, City. I live in Manchester, TJ. This is it. I've had enough. Right. I've had enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's back.
He's back. Who do you have a picture with now?
Who is it this time, Chris? Who is it this time?
No, I was just talking to James Maddison, but he has literally just
clang
in crutches. He's got crutches.
What?
No.
Yeah, he's got crutches on. So I don't know. I don't know the extent of the injury at the moment, but yeah, he's leaving the stadium with crutches.
Jeez.
So
when's
yeah,
next game? Next Saturday.
Next Saturday. Bournemouth away.
Bournemouth. Okay. Shit.
So yeah, sorry.
Was it coming together with? Was it Wan-Bissaka? I know he went down. He was holding his leg. Oh, maybe it was the penalty shouts, right?
Yeah.
When Romero went down with Martinez and then Maddis went down. I think it was Wan-Bissaka. Maybe it was that. Who knows? Anyway, Foles was talking.
Yeah.
Sorry, TJ, for the City comment. It's just because everywhere I go, I'm hearing people.
No, mate, I completely get it. I completely get it. I've got it on in the background, and it's obviously a pretty big game. I mean, they're both going to be top four, aren't they?
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah, you carry on, Mick.
We were talking about Sarr, weren't we? I mean, I think he was even shocked himself when he saw it hit the back of the net, because I mean, we were just, by this point, we were absolutely crying out for a goal, and especially after Pedro Porro and it hitting the crossbar and Son giving it a crack, it felt like absolute chaos. It felt like complete desperation. But you know what? Hook it up to my veins. I loved it. I was all for it. It was just like absolute desire and passion that we've just wanted to see for so long. And yeah, Sarr, dear of him, when he ran and celebrated that goal, just like I wanted to cry tears of joy for him. I feel like he's like everyone's little brother. Just want him to succeed. I mean, he done a madness for us in the Champions League last season, and then we didn't see him again. I know he had a poor when we saw him. I think after that game, he was poor and he got sent off, didn't he? Didn't get sent off. Sorry, he got benched. But yeah, I mean, he's just at the start of his career. He's so young, and just like I really hope now under Postecoglou he's going to have his time to shine and going to continue to evolve as a player, because
he was also unlucky not to score. He had that great strike, I think, with his right foot, and Onana saved it. Saved it really well, and then he had another swing with his left foot and was unlucky again. He was just so good today, wasn't he?
But Sarr was just amazing. I mean, like it's just. I mean, I went to the Gambia in November, and it's right next to Senegal in Africa, and I went around the time of the World Cup, and he really is Senegal's like poster boy, because he is just their football star, and it like he really is just like and people were saying to us, because they were all supporting Senegal out there and in the Gambia, and they were all talking about Sarr and everything, and I was like, I'm a Tottenham fan.
And how old is he? He's like 21 or something, isn't he? He's really young. How old is he? Really young, right?
Let's ask the encyclopedia. Go on, Chris.
I think he's 19, 20, but go on, Chris.
I think he's 20. Yeah. 20. So, I mean, amazing.
It's going to make us all feel well old now.
Ricky, let's come to you. Of course, in the 51st minute, and this is when it was like end-to-end stuff in the second half, because Anthony hit the post for Manchester United. A minute later, Udogie came close, saved by Onana. In the 57th minute, header at goal, saved by Vicario. These games for Spurs this season, they are going to be entertaining games, aren't they?
Yeah, it's going to be end-to-end. It's going to be like a basketball match, mate. And I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Like Holly was saying there, I'm all for it. I mean, especially after the last couple of seasons and the last couple of managers, where even when we was winning, I remember watching games like this. TJ was talking about his friend who stood up and applauded today, but there were so many times last season where I would be like slumped in the sofa and just watching it. I was kind of emotionless and despondent, but with that type of play today, it's exciting. It's what we want to see. And like TJ said at the beginning of the show, this is what we're about. This is Tottenham DNA. This is the style of football, the flair, the excitement, the expression. And being allowed to go out there and express yourself. And it doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're Sarr at 20 years old, or whether you're Udogie, or whether you're a new player or an old. Go out there and express yourself. Go out there and play the football that you want to play. And I think that in turn also kind of feeds into the happiness, because you can see all of them that was on that field today wanted to play that way. They wasn't scared of conceding a goal. They wanted to play that way. And the fact that we played that way and had a couple of scares, but still came out with a clean sheet, I think that's phenomenal. I didn't think we was going to have a clean sheet today. My prediction today was like a 3-2. When I was on last week, I said to you, Chris, 3-2. That's what I reckon, because we're 100% going to score, going to concede. And but to come away with a 2-0 win, Vicario showing some great displays today. I thought that's definitely going to you know, it's definitely a taster of what's to come from him. And I think that will calm down the critics, and that will calm down the people that were like, Raya or this one or that one or cheap option or whatever you wanted to come out with. I think it's also an indictment to kind of trust in this data-led system and trust in the scouts and the systems that we've got right now.
Massive comment, Rick. Massive comment. Massive.
I mean, like, I remember I had to take it on myself, and I've said this a couple of times as well, but Amrabat, when we was linked with Amrabat, and I'm happy that we got Bentancur, don't get me wrong, I think Bentancur is next level. But when we was linked with Amrabat in that January, me and a lot of people were like, who is this guy? Why? It's another cheap option. Why are we going for him? What's the point? What's the point? What's the point? But you saw how he and we could have got him for like 14, 15 mil, I think, at that point. Went to the World Cup, absolutely phenomenal performances. Now he's quadruple his value, and he's probably going to go to a top 4 side. Do you know what I mean? Around the world, whichever side he ends up going to, it will be a top 3 or top 4 side. And that just made me kind of go, hold tight a minute. You know, it's because we're cynical. It's because we're cynical of Spurs. Spurs have made so many mistakes over the year that we don't want to trust anybody in the scouting or the recruitment area. But that Amrabat himself gave me that example to be like, well, maybe they do have something right. Maybe they do have something going. And that's how I feel about Vicario coming in. And I think we've got to trust them. And that's why I'm excited to not only see him grow and for him to show what he's about, but whoever else they're going to bring in, we've got to trust this data-led system, and we've got to trust those scouts that are bringing them in, you know, and the sky's the limit for this side, you know. Yes, we're going to concede goals. Yes, we're going to be vulnerable at times. We are going to take a couple of spankings at times, but that's the way that we're going to play, and that's what the boss has said, that we're going to continue to play that way, and we're going to win more than we lose. And, you know, ultimately, he's looking for success. So that's what we're going towards. It's not just entertaining for entertaining's sake. It's not just, you know, do a trick or a step over to please the crowd. We're doing it with a purpose. And I think that's important too.
Holly, let's come to you. Spurs had a number of chances. In the 60th minute, Basuma shot over the bar. A minute later, Heung-min Son had a shot blocked. Just wanted to get your opinion very quickly on the Heung-min Son appointment as captain. The right decision for you?
Without a doubt, Chris. Without a doubt, he was the first person that came to my mind. He has been at the club a long time. It feels like it's some extra responsibility for him. Well, it is some extra responsibility for him. That literally is it. But it's well deserved. You know, he is a very reasonable guy. He's very respectful, and he's full of class. And I just think when your team needs you, and you know, they want to know that they can rely on you to fight their battles and also represent the rest of the team. And he really is that. And I had to laugh when Romero got made vice captain, because Chris, you might have seen on my Instagram story. I thought to myself, can you imagine Romero trying to calm down a Larry situation? It just made me laugh. Like, bless him, I do love him, but yeah, just absolutely just hilarious. But yeah, Son, when he called, didn't he call Madders or something, and said that one thing he really wanted to introduce is doing the team huddle, like right over by the away fans that obviously had travelled there. It's little things like that. I think Son knows the fans by now, and similar to, I think, Postecoglou's strategy of involving the fans in a lot of things that he does. It's about getting them on side and getting them to believe in the team again, and that the team care. And I think it's those little things that, you know, really go a long way. And I think it's a little booster that Son needs, because it was really heartbreaking to see him deflated under Conte's leadership and kind of lose his sparkle a bit. And I think Sonny was fantastic today, but I think that, you know, we really need to see Sonny doing what he does best, and scoring goals, and just doing his little Sonny celebration, and just really kind of doing what we love him for. And I'm hoping that under Postecoglou that he will return back to his former glory. So
Do you think he'll have more chances to play up top, Holes? Like, you know, when Richarlison came off and he went up to centre forward, do you think he'll have more opportunities for that?
I hope so, because I certainly have more faith in him than Richarlison.
Great. No, absolutely. And also, he tends to rise to that occasion. You know, obviously, we all know that Harry's got ankles made out of glass. And so the amount of times that he would have to come in and you know, play up top when Harry went off, and he always did incredibly well. I mean, his return of goals, again, I don't have the numbers. I'm sure other people will. But if Richarlison continues to struggle, we seem to have a plethora of wide choices. I mean, Perisic was just outstanding when he came on today. He made 3 of that same pass, just that pass on the ground, you know, to feet. Obviously, one of them led to the Ben Davies goal, which was chalked up as an own goal. But
Perisic is totally different gravy. He is just absolutely.
And we were this close to having him go back to Inter, because again, and here's a player who has a very close relationship with Conte, both personally and professionally, came to Tottenham and was just broken under that system. And we talk about happiness and the difference that's made to the players and to the fans and, you know, to all of us. And the same can be said for that abject misery which hung over the club with Conte and Mourinho. It was just so heavy and weighted. And also the egos of those two men were vast and dense, and just seemed to suck all the joy and light out of the club. It's so nice to see Ange come in and just be like, listen, it's about the fans. And surely that's not rocket science. You know, it is entertainment. That's what sport is and always has been. It's entertainment for the masses. And bringing that joy back has just already paid enormous dividends. It's just such a delight to see.
Yeah, it was actually credited in the 83rd minute that Ben Davies got the goal, but inside the stadium they actually gave it as an own goal. Ricky, let's come to you. Last question. Bournemouth next game, next Saturday. Does Ange Postecoglou change anything in terms of personnel? Does he keep it exactly the same as today? If James Maddison is fit enough to play, obviously. And your score prediction for next week?
Does he keep it the same? Part of me would say yes, because you don't change your winning side, right? That's the old adage. I can't even say it right now. So yeah, but part of me is kind of trusting Ange to do whatever combination, whatever mix that he wants to do. You know, I didn't expect him to drop out Emerson Royal today for Porro. You know, having Porro and your doggy on the same field would seem like we're just kind of throwing the whole kitchen sink at the Man United goal and not worrying about conceding anything. But we did see an assured a couple of assured strong performances from Udogie, especially at that left back, and from Porro. I thought Porro got in some nice slide challenges. I thought the pass that came into Porro for him to turn, Gary Neville picked up on it on commentary. He was finding difficult to do. But again, you know, I didn't expect him to put Porro in today against the Man United. But he done that for reasons. He done that because there was recovery pace. You know, Porro's got a bit more pace than Emerson. And it worked. It worked, and there was a clean sheet. So, ideally,
his best performance today defensively, no, Rick?
Absolutely.
You know, to use an American analogy, on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely.
You know, he's always threatening moving forward, and like you said, his pace is electric. Guy knows how to strike the ball. I mean, he's such a beautifully clean striker of the football. But I was really impressed with him on the defensive side of the ball as well today.
Yeah, and he needed to be, and we needed him to be. Do you know what I mean? And he needed to be for himself, to kind of prove it to himself that, yes, he can do this in this system, you know, and put in defensive displays and be reliable in the back line as well as be an option going forward. So the fact that Ange done that, I was really pleased with, and the fact that we've come out with a result and a clean sheet. So I would keep it the same. But if Maddison is missing, then I think it's Lo Celso time. You know, I've got, after those performances over pre-season, I don't think I've got much worry in chucking Lo Celso in there. yes, Maddison is going to be a miss because today he was absolutely phenomenal and built on that performance from last week. So I would love him to continue building on these performances and finding his feet and making his presence known in a Tottenham shirt. But if it's Lo Celso time, then let's go. Let's go. The reason I'm not worried about the lineup is because the amount of hunger, energy, and desire, tenacity, want, do you know what I mean? Will to win, all of those things. That's why I'm not worried about whoever Ange puts in. But naturally, of course, I would kind of keep a winning side. And for
do you think Gio is going to improve, knowing that he won't get a sniff? Because I mean, James Maddison is just absolute quality, isn't he? Just absolute quality, and plays pretty much exactly the same. Not only position, but also, is tasked with exactly the same job that Lo Celso would be tasked with. I think it might give him an opportunity.
Fits in so well.
Yeah,
Gio fits in so well. Hoz?
No, Maddison.
Maddison does. Yeah. No, for sure. And also, he looks unshackled, doesn't he? You know what I mean? He's been at Leicester for ages. I mean, ludicrous stats last season, second to Kevin De Bruyne in all of those stats for that. I mean, just remarkable. And playing at a Leicester side that just got relegated. You know what I mean? Like, he's that good. And so coming to Tottenham, where you are given that expansive role, and also, again, no disrespect to a club that's, I mean, listen, they've won the Premier League, so fair play to them, but still they're not Tottenham or like a larger club like that. I just feel that he has stepped into that position of responsibility and authority, and really grabbed that chance, that opportunity with both hands. I'm just curious to see if Lo Celso will be vastly improved, knowing if I do get a smidgen of a chance, if Maddison is rested or if Maddison isn't 100% fit, will he come in and shine like he often does for Argentina?
Well, for me, I think that in life, there's certain things that happen which change your mentality and change your outlook on life. There's a quote from Muhammad Ali, and he says, if you strongly believe at 30 the same things at 60, then you've wasted 30 years of your life. And I think there's been so many things that have happened to Lo Celso. The injury in missing out on the World Cup, having his daughter born very, very soon after that, dealing with disappointments, highs and lows. His attitude coming back into pre-season says to me that he's not going to come in and sulk about not being played right now. I think with what I've seen through pre-season, that if he's given the opportunity next week against Bournemouth, that he's going to grab it with both hands, and he's going to show us with tenacity, with hunger, with energy, and with all those things that I've just said already. He's going to show us what he's about, and he's going to look to take his chance, which somebody like Ndombele hasn't done. Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Lo Celso leave in the next couple of weeks, Rick.
And if he leaves, then he leaves, bro. If he leaves, then he leaves. Then I'm going to trust the scouting system to put that money to good use and get somebody who is a dynamite fit for that role. That's if he does. But if he's here, like, bro, they were saying that Højbjerg's leaving. Højbjerg's on the verge of leaving, but did he not come off the bench today? And did he not shore it up? And did he there was a bad back pass. But apart from that, he came on and he done the job. Do you know what I mean? So if Lo Celso leaves, if and when he leaves, okay, cool. Good luck to you, brother. And I'm sure that we're going to bring somebody else to fill that role. But while he's here and while he's got Tottenham crest on his shirt, I want to see what he's about. And I think he's going to take that opportunity and show us what he's about. So 3-0 is the prediction as well for me.
3-0. Wow.
3-0.
Holly, what do you think about next week?
Oh, you know me, I'm always gonna, be positive and have a very, very positive score prediction. So I like Ricky's answer, 3-0. I was gonna say 3-0, but I think I'm gonna go different now. I'm gonna go 4-0, just right, to make it a bit.
All right, Holly. Okay, prediction for West Ham versus Chelsea, and remember who's watching tomorrow.
Oh, come on now. Listen, he's not. I don't think he's actually watching now, so I can say what I want.
I'm only joking. You don't have to answer. Don't answer. It's fine.
Oh, thanks, Rick. Yeah, don't put me in the doghouse, please. Oh my God. But no, Chris, you've been kicked out of the stadium again.
It's closed. The stadium is now closed.
Oh.
Yes.
I was hoping you'd have another picture with someone famous to show off about.
Oh, the security guard.
I've seen enough of them. TJ, how are you feeling about next week?
Yeah, I'm feeling great about every upcoming fixture, I have to say. I agree with Rick. I think it's going to be 3-0 to Spurs. What I'm curious about as well with that high-scoring game is that how the goals will be shared between attackers, midfielders, and defenders. You know, it was a midfielder and a defender. I know it was given as an own goal, but whatever. You know, who scored our goals today. So will this be the game that Richarlison gets off the mark? Will Kulu start finding the back of the net again? Will Sonny step up and do, you know, left step over right, you know, into the top left-hand corner, or left step over, you know, right step over left into the top right-hand corner? That goal that he scores against Manchester City, like, you know, with almost metronomic consistency. Who will be scoring those goals? I personally don't care where they come from. If Maddison is fit and plays, I can see Romero and Cease Holly's beating heart Van de Ven getting on the end of one of those, you know, with a header. And so, yeah, I think 3-0, where those goals will come from, I think will be interesting for us.
TJ, thanks so much for coming back on with us this evening.
What you loved every second of it, as ever. Thank you very much.
What are you up to at the moment? Where can people find you?
What I'm up to at the moment, well, we're all on strike, so not doing too much. That's what's happening over here in California. Lots of big news. So just, you know, loving life generally. It's summer. I live by the beach, so, you know, I'm going to take the dog for a walk to the beach in a moment. But work-wise, not too much as to where to find me. You know, at TJ Ramini on Twitter, and I don't really use Instagram that much, but I am on there. And Rick, I'd love you to send me that video that you were talking about. That'd be lovely if you could shoot me that on Twitter. That'd be fabulous. And listen,
I'll find it, mate.
Chris, thanks to you, Rick, mate. Nice to see you. Holly, a pleasure. I hope that this isn't. I hope that this will be the first of many. Really great panel. Thank
lovely
you.
to meet you. It's been wonderful, and hopefully we will chat again at some point this season on the show.
For sure.
I wish then I just turned the camera around, because Dele Alli literally just walked straight past me. So twice in one day. Ricky, where can people find you and what you're up to at the moment?
You guys know where you can find me, at Ricky J Norwood on Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called right now. Official Ricky Norwood on Insta. And yeah, keep your eyes peeled. There's a couple of things that I think are bubbling next week, so keep your eyes peeled on your TV screens. I'm sure something will be dropping then. And yeah, just keep him busy, brother. Keep him busy. I know we're leaving, but Chris, did the crowd sing for Dele? Did they see him? Did they sing for him? I just need to know if he got any encouragement or anything like that.
They didn't see
Nothing. Oh, damn it. All right. But I'm sure he got a lot of love today from all the Tottenham fans, because, you know, we all got loads of love for Dele, and we hate to see that decline. And I think it's tragic that documentary, the interview that he done with Gary Neville, it broke my heart. Made me shed a tear, and it just shows us that, you know, it doesn't matter how much money you got in your bank, that real life issues and life can affect you and your heart and your stomach.
And that footballers are human beings. They're human beings. Yeah. They're not made in a laboratory or in a factory. You know, they're human beings, and they're fallible. And they all have, like you said, Rick, they all have a background and a story. And we're reminded to consider that, you know, when we pass comment or judgment on any of them.
Yeah, exactly. Very well said. And Holly, thanks so much for coming back. It's been a pleasure having you here. You've certainly put a smile on all of our faces. Where can people find you?
Oh, you know me, my chat is as random as ever, no doubt. I'll listen back to this and cringe. It's just like a fever dream every time, just a constant stream of my consciousness. So I'm sorry for that. I'm surprised you have me back on, Chris. But thank you very much. It's been a great panel. Lovely to chat to you all. People were saying, why is her username Holly BBC? It's because I work for the British Broadcasting Corporation. And probably from the next time I am on the show, you'll have to stop introducing me as BBC Breakfast producer because I have a new job, which I'm starting soon. So I'll tell you more about that next time. But yeah, so I'm very excited about that, and hope to see you all again soon.
Well, Holly, best of luck with your new job. TJ, Holly, and Ricky, thanks so much for joining me this evening, talking about Tottenham's win, the first win of the Premier League season. There are many, many more to come, including next week at Bournemouth. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening, and until the next time, come on, you Spurs.
Come on!